Too many people treat power scaling like the outcomes are set in stone. Character A beats character B. Character B beats character C. So obviously, character A beats character C. Like fictional combat is some kind of solved equation, and each character is assigned a number value. But combat isn't strictly transitive, and trying to force transitive logic onto a multi-variable fight is where power scaling starts to become fallacious. Let's look at real-life fighting. Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier in his prime. Then, George Foreman absolutely destroyed Frazier with his superior punching force. So, by power scaling logic, Foreman should have annihilated an older and out-of-form Ali. Instead, Ali beat Foreman. Why? Because combat has intangibles. Things like prep time, hunger to win, each combatant's present psychological state, just to name a few. Things don't neatly fit into a spreadsheet. And that's the issue with modern power scaling culture. Not that comparing characters is always dumb. Obviously, some matchups are straightforward. Spider-Man probably isn't beating Galactus in a fistfight. The problem is when fans start acting like fictional fights can produce mathematical certainty. So much certainty that power scalers think they can reprimand creators for getting it wrong. But fiction doesn't work this way. Stan Lee literally said the person who wins is whoever the writer wants to win. An Invincible writer and co-creator, Robert Kirkman, makes almost the exact same argument in Invincible Universe Battle Beast number 9. He basically says there are general rules and stronger characters, but fighters are ultimately determined by circumstances, timing, luck, drive, and intangibles. His exact line is, anyone can beat anyone in a fight depending on the circumstances of the fight. Even Akira Toriyama moved away from the rigid power levels because they started limiting storytelling. That's the point. Rocky beating Apollo wasn't about Rocky secretly having higher power levels. The whole point was the intangibles. Real combat doesn't work that way. Sports don't work that way. And fiction definitely doesn't work that way. But modern power scalers flatten all of that into a transitive equation. Yamcha beats Batman. Batman took down Superman. So obviously, Yamcha beats Superman. It's too simplistic, especially when ridiculous power scaling arguments often rely on mental gymnastics, like taking minor comedic gags seriously, fallaciously feat stacking, misinterpreting hyperbole, or applying real-world physics to nonsensical fictional events. To go back to the boxing analogy, even boxing experts understand the volatility of fight outcomes. Writers and analysts from boxing magazine The Ring regularly describe major fights as pick'em fights because combat contains intangibles that can't be perfectly quantified beforehand. That's real fighting. So why are fandoms pretending fictional combat is more mathematically certain than actual combat sports? At a certain point, power scaling stops being analysis and starts being fans using pseudomath to force their preferred outcomes onto stories that were never meant to function like algebra.